Okay, so here we are in the vegetable garden, and I'll show you what I've done here to get a drip system installed. I converted some risers over, so I'll show you what I did to change things over and how it looks now. So what I did is, you can see I have these risers here. They're hooked into my underground irrigation system, and they used to have a spray head like this on it. Had a filter, had an adjustable sprayer, and it would just spray in a circular, or I could adjust how far it went, pattern. It was just a straight out spray continuously in all directions that I had it set for. So that was great when I had just a full garden, but once I put the boxes in, it would have given me a lot of overspray in areas that I didn't need spray. And I've always been interested in having the drip running along the ground to conserve water, and only water what I need watered, instead of supplying the weeds and pathways with water as well. So all I had to do was screw this off of this main riser and screw this on. Now this one, I believe, is Orbit brand, but you can get them from Rainbird and different companies. These ones had a filter in place similar to this, so I didn't need a filter. Again, a lot of places recommend a pressure regulator. I did not use that. Like I said, we don't have real high pressure here, so I decided to go without the pressure regulator because it's quite a bit of money. I have 4 posts like this that I was converting, and I had no problem without it. So you can see a little bit here, I just used some plumber's tape just to get a good seal when I screwed it back on. And you can get these with 4 or 6 nozzles. This brand turns. And I liked that because I could use these and send these hoses out in the directions that I wanted. You just screw this little piece off on this particular brand, and you can attach your hose over there. And if you don't want this one being used anymore, you save these and they just screw right back on. So it makes it really simple. Putting the hose on, I just heated it up a little bit with like a barbecue lighter, just to make it a little bit softer, more pliable, and hooked it on the ends. And then you can see I put these on so I can turn the hoses on and off for the different areas of the garden. So when it's going in line with the hose like that, it's on full, and when it's turned sideways, it's off. So that helps me to control how much water is getting to what areas of the garden. So then I just ran the solid hose down, and in this particular spot I have a T connection, and I have drip hose going off in this direction, and solid 1/4-inch hose going that direction. And I've just looped the drip tubing around, and in this particular bed it's just connected back up at the other end of the solid hose, so it runs on one big continuous loop. Other beds I did a little bit differently. So this bed is beside the one we were just at, and it has the hose coming off that same riser right here, and it comes in. And again, I have a T connection there, and you can see the drip tubing going off in that direction. The solid tubing is this here. So solid tubing goes across, and because this bed is wider, I have the drip tube connected up again at the next junction here, and then the solid tubing goes down. And there's another drip tube coming off of it, wrapped around to the end of the bed, and comes back to the end here. So you can see those drip tubes go down the bed. Got the cold frame in the way, but they loop around and come back and connect up to that hose again. So I have two lengths of 1/4-inch drip tube that are just run down, looped around, and connected back up to that hose. That particular run of hose comes back out of that bed, and you can see I have a little shut off here again that I can use, and it runs down, and I have it running actually outside of the vegetable garden and over to these pots. I have one here and one there that are just outside the shed by my vegetable garden. And I ran, the tube comes in the far side of this pot and connects to a piece of drip tube like this. And so it wraps around the pot, and I just have it pinned down in the pot at the edge there, and then it comes back out. Goes under along the sidewalk there, and then it pops back up and does the same thing around that pot, and then I just have a plug on the end of the 1/4-inch tube so that that completes that run. For these pots, I don't think that drip tube, as we got to the end of the season and it's trying to support all the roots and growth for these plants here, I don't think that bit of drip tube is really enough. I've been supplementing those with a few watering cans once in a while, but for most of the season that was helpful. So back in here, I tried a different kind of connector or adapter, I guess, for hooking the hose. See, it's still hooked onto the riser, same idea as the other one. This one has 6 ports coming out of it. This one is a Rainbird one. And these ports, these little things on the end, don't come off. They don't screw on and off near as easily. I had a lot of trouble getting them off. I think maybe if you got a pair of pliers, you could pull that out, but I wound up slitting them and just wrecking them to get them off. And I found it much more difficult to get the 1/4-inch tubing onto the end once they were there. So I don't like this one as much. Again, it just screwed on to the top of the riser, but I just found it a little less user-friendly for getting the tubing onto it than the other brand. But it's the same idea, and the tubing is all hooked up the same way. You can see I have the shut-off running and going into this bed, and then I have another one that goes across to another bed. So, and this one here goes to actually a second section of this bed that I'm at, because I had 2 different areas that I wanted watered a little bit differently. So, and that's how I did the sprinkler lines, the drip tubing for the vegetable garden. As you can see, when I ran these drip tubes, you can see this bed that has my peppers and that in it. You can see how it was run, and it goes along beside the plants there, so that there was plenty of water getting right to the roots of each plant.